soybeans aren't perfect oil, correct?
They're not a perfect oil, that's right. My name is Kristin Bilyeu. I'm a research molecular biologist with the USDA ARS in the Plant Genetics Research Unit in Columbia, Missouri. I work on the University of Missouri campus, also at the University of Missouri Research Farms, and I do soybean research to make soybean better for farmers and ultimately consumers. One of our challenges is trying to figure out ways to improve value all the way through the value chain and find ways that can reap benefits not just to farmers but to the processor and ultimately in better foods for consumers that could be healthier or have better prices or be more sustainable. There's lots of different avenues and we like to hit on all of those as best we can. And the way we do that is through research into new traits in seed composition. So soybean has value from the protein and the oil that is extracted from it that gets kind of injected into our food supply in different ways. And one of the issues with soybean is to try to increase the value of the oil and the protein components, and we found a way to change the seed composition to make it more valuable both on the oil and on the meal side, which is where the protein goes. And we did that by identifying sort of heirloom soybean varieties that were grown historically in different places around the world for food, and they happen to have individual components of the traits that we found that we could make the seeds produce slightly different types of oil and meal. And so we took those individual lines and did cross-hybridization experiments and breeding and characterization and a lot of development of that germplasm so that we ultimately identified the molecular basis of those traits, and that allowed us to be much more efficient in breeding. But still we face challenges in getting those individual components together in one sort of high-yielding soybean, and then that type of high-yielding soybean deployed across the U.S. production zone so that a Minnesota farmer and a Georgia farmer could reap the benefits of this research. So we've collaborated with not only the University of Missouri, but other universities and seed companies and even now food companies to try to put all of this research together to create more value in one crop, the soybean, so that when it filters its way through the food system, everyone can benefit.
Okay, Kristin, soybeans aren't perfect oil, correct?
They're not a perfect oil, that's right.
So what, like palm oil is, or
Nope.
Olive oil?
None of those are perfect oils.
Really?
There's different characteristics in the oil that make them better for some uses than others. So soybean oil is really good for a lot of uses, but historically it had to be treated to make it have a good shelf life and to have it perform when it's heated. So in a cooking or frying oil, it had to be changed for that to happen. And those changes have been, we're not allowed to use those same techniques anymore in the oil. And so we needed a new type of soybean oil, which has otherwise good characteristics. It's pretty neutral in flavor, and it performs pretty well. But what we figured out was that if we could change the profile of the oil to become somewhat more like olive oil, we could enhance the stability of the oil for those high heat applications or longer shelf life application to make it perform better without the changes that have like fallen out of favor that we can't do anymore. So that's called a high oleic soybean, and that soybean, the non-GMO version, was born here in collaboration with Grover Shannon at the Delta Center at the University of Missouri. My research with him showed that we could take two genes from two separate heirloom varieties and put them together and create this new kind of oil that would solve the problem of the heat and oxidative stability and creates an opportunity for growers to receive a premium to create a product that really fits into like modern food. So it's a win-win for everyone.
So it benefits the consumer ultimately.
That's right.
As well as the producer, yes.
It makes a better oil. We're starting to see demand pick up for that oil because commercial varieties are available. And then we didn't know at the time, but it also has some impact on the meal side. So I think I've heard that dairy cows that consume a high oleic soybean can produce a slightly different milk with maybe a little different milk fat or a little more production. And so there's performance that we didn't envision at first that actually have come into play, not just for the oil, but for the whole bean or for the meal that has a little bit of the oil left in it.
Wow. So this is a perfect example where you did the molecular work, the pre-breeding work, and then a soybean breeder like Grover Shannon
That's
worked
right.
with you to get it to the
That's
next
right.
step.
Well, we kind of worked on the initial part together. So he stepped into my arena and did a little discovery work as well.
Great.
And then I partnered with him as a breeder, and then with a number of other breeders, including now Andrew Skaboo is a big partner because we're adding not just that trait, but we call it high oleic plus other traits. We're trying to really put a bundle of value in that soybean and create a new opportunity that the growers are familiar with soybean. They can produce high yields, get a good price, but we're envisioning a new avenue where it's almost like a second crop of soybean that will have this enhanced value, and we hope provide, enticements throughout the value chain that ultimately will benefit consumers for a product that we make domestically and like with high yields, and we want everyone to be happy for it.